Hey everyone, welcome to our November 12th Zoom event with the Movable Book Society. I'm Sean Sheehy, I'm the director, I'm your co-host. We have also here co-host Emily Martin. Pass the mic.
Hi there. I am allegedly the tech person.
We have also this morning for me, Kyra Hicks, our chat mistress. Hello, Kyra.
Good morning. Good morning.
Keeping an eye on the social medias is Belle Uria. Giving you a little wave there. And we're gonna roll because we've got a super full day. I mean, when do we not? When do we not? But couple of things before we get going. Please put your location, state, country, whatever, into the chat. We'd love to keep track of that. And during the course of the presentations today, we would love to field your questions through the chat. So if you got them, drop them in there. We'll grab them and we'll read them and we'll get some answers for you. If you are having a bouncy, rough time with Zoom, it might be to your advantage to turn your video off for a little bit. So play with that. That might help you. Also, announcement, we got some deals going. I don't know if you saw this at the bottom of the reminder email that went out this morning, but just for this weekend, in celebration of this brand new venture that we're doing, these new greeting cards, we're gonna do a 20% discount on those cards for the next 46 hours. TikTok, don't wait. So Kyra, I don't think I gave you promo codes, Kyra.
Yes, you did. MBS 220 off. It's in the chat.
See, even when I bungle, Kyra's got it all together. So in the chat, promo code MBS 20 off. And you can also use that code to pick up a copy of our A to Z Marvels in Paper Engineering, that sweet alphabet collection that we did for our 25th anniversary in 2018. Still some copies of that available. Pick up an extra. It's almost time for sharing gifts. Who knows? Also, we've got a plea out to our lapsed members. If you were a member before and you kind of let that slide, we'd love to have you back. So we're going to give you for the weekend 10% off to renew as a member. And quite frankly, if you're a subscriber but not yet a member and you want to become a member, you can use that promo code too. Come join us. The big extra perk is you get the quarterly newsletter, and it's amazing. It's amazing. So let's talk about those greeting cards. We decided, because we brought on a new board member last year, Ross Meyer, Mr. Proposition Press. You saw his hand wave there just a second ago. And we're very lucky because he's got skills. And so he's kind of organized getting us together and producing this set of greeting cards. So I'm going to pass the mic to Rostin. He's going to introduce the project, and then we'll hear from the engineers who are involved in the project.
Thank you, Sean. Hey, everybody. My name is Rostin. I run Proposition Press, a small press making pop-up books and cards with different artists. So when I joined the board of the Movable Book Society, one of the reasons I did that was to help produce more physical items. We did the A to Z set. There was a 10-year anniversary thing, but I wanted to put some more cool paper engineering out in the world. So the first project that we did is this 2022 greeting card set with 3 different designs from 3 engineers who are on the call today. I'll quickly show them to you. So this is Kirthana's awesome turtle card. A beautiful laser cut turtle. It says "You're turtly awesome" right there. Here is Paper Paul's Holiday House. And here is Starshine's Space Cats as a message from outer space. Happy birthday. So it was a lot of fun, working with the engineers kind of just on the concepts. They all did all the engineering and the illustrations for each of the cards. They're available individually and as a set, both at the Movable Book website and on propositionpress.com. They're also on Etsy. They'll be on Amazon in probably a couple of weeks. And yeah, this was a fun project that, came together really quickly, no hitches. We got the cards in about 3 or 4 weeks. I'm excited to hear from each engineer. So I guess we'll start with Kirthana. So she can tell us about her card design and what she has been doing.
Okay, Kirthana, do you want me to play the video now?
Yes, absolutely. So just before we play the video, hi everyone, I'm Kirthana. I preemptively made a pre-recorded video about the Total Pop-Up card because I wasn't sure whether I'd be able to make it today, but because it's there, I thought it'd be great to just watch the video together with everyone. Hi, I'm Kirthana and I made the Total Pop-Up card. And I'm recording this video a little preemptively in case I'm not able to make it live to the event, but hopefully I'm there and engaging with everybody on the chat. Anyway, so I made the Total Pop-Up card and the first question is, why turtles? And the simplest answer to that is Rostin reached out to me asking me to make a card for the Movable Book Society. And he suggested that I make or recreate one of the pop-ups that I had worked on for a pop-up book personal project that I'd worked on from almost a year ago. And he suggested the turtle, which I will share with you now. And when he suggested that idea, I was just all for it because I love animals. So for me, the process of making this card was more about how do I adapt something that I've made previously for a different context, which happens to be a book about endangered species, into a greeting card that is light, fun, and relatable. And so I just thought about, okay, what if we can make this into a relatable card by using a pun? I'm not the cleverest person when it comes to puns, but I had a lot of fun trying to think of what total puns can we use, and I landed with the whole idea of a phrase, just swimming by to say, "You're totally awesome." So for me, the process of working on this pop-up card actually started almost about a year and a half ago when I was working on a personal project called My Friends Are Missing, which is an art pop-up book filled with 30 pop-ups of 30 endangered species. And it just so happened that we decided to recreate the total pop-up from this book for the Movable Society greeting card. For me, the biggest challenge in making this total pop-up card was just really figuring out how to make the turtle look like it was swimming. So I'm a bit of an anatomy nerd, and I like my drawings and illustrations to be as anatomically accurate as possible while giving me the space and the scope for taking artistic liberty and artistic expressions. But at the same time, I knew that for the movement of this turtle, I wanted to be as true to life as possible. And so I wanted the turtle to swim and look like it's swimming as it would in real life. So the biggest challenge was to make sure that the front flippers and the back flippers were moving in the same direction. And this took, I think, quite a bit of trial and error and just figuring out how to adapt a very simple rotating mechanism to move in the same direction what I ended up doing is converting these back flippers into something of the sort of duck legs, or at least I call them duck legs because they look like duck legs to me, which helps the back flippers move in the same direction as the front flippers. And that was only possible by adding an extra hemisphere almost to the back flippers. And beyond that, I would say the rest of the mechanism is pretty simple, with the only additional detail that I personally enjoy a lot is of the turtle neck just being slightly below the body, which gives the entire pop-up a very three-dimensional, almost lifelike look. Yeah, I just love playing with this. And I think the second part of the pop-up is just the illustration style that I decided to pick, which is just as a paper cut style. The initial turtle pop-up that I had created, this one, is completely hand cut. With an X-Acto knife. And the reason I decided to go for this hand cut, almost meticulously hand cut style is because I am a paper cut artist, and it is illustrating in paper cuts is my default. When I was decided to work on the endangered species book, I thought about exploring different styles of illustration, but I decided to default back onto my paper cut style because that is something that I am most comfortable with. It comes very easily to me. And I also thought it poses an interesting challenge where once I start cutting away bits of paper, immediately it starts revealing some of the underlying mechanisms. You can see through the paper almost into the mechanisms, and I think one of the challenges of any paper pop-up artist, any paper engineer, is how do you creatively hide the mechanism that is making your pop-up move. And I think that additional layer of challenge of how do I make parts of the pop-up, the mechanism of the pop-up, be hidden while I also use this paper cut method where you can sort of see through a lot of the paper itself, a lot of the main body of the artwork itself. I think that posed an interesting challenge for me. So when Rostin reached out to me to recreate this turtle, this hand-cut, handmade turtle pop-up to a commercially viable greeting card, I think the first thing I had to solve for is how do I translate something that is handmade and delicate into something that can be digitized and therefore can be mass manufactured. So we obviously had to go for laser cutting the card, and thankfully, because I have a background in graphic design, digitizing the card, the hand cut elements to a digital Illustrator file, which can then therefore be laser cut, was simple enough. But for the challenge for me came in understanding just how delicately a machine can handle the same kind of lacy cuts. And I think the biggest difference that I found between what the human hand can do versus what a machine can do is that the human hand is just so much more delicate. I sadly haven't seen the cards in person yet, and I'm really waiting to finally get them in hand, and therefore I haven't actually seen just how beautiful it looks in real life. But all the pictures that have been shared with me so far, they just look so well made and so delicately cut. And I think that's the great thing about technologies that we have today, such as laser cut, that allows for these really delicate handmade things to be recreated for a lot of people to enjoy. For me, this entire journey started with a book, with a personal project that I started many years ago, and it ended into a card that people can buy and possibly give to each other and tell everybody in their lives that they're totally awesome. So yeah, that was me, and that was my journey in making the pop-up card. Thank you. And finally, before I end my presentation, I wanted to share a short and satisfying process video of the turtle pop-up card. Enjoy.
Okay,
That
Ross
is
and Kirthana.
I was just going to add that it is quite difficult to watch a video of yourself speak.
And Kyra has put Kirthana's website and other info into the cards. And there's a question about Etsy. I don't think they're going to be on Etsy.
Yeah, the correct ordering information's is in the chat. Yeah.
And you can use the discount through the listings in the chat, but you'll have to go through that. And we do save the chat, so if you haven't gotten it written down now, you will get that information.
Mhm.
And there are lots and lots of comments about how beautiful the card is.
Absolutely.
People are excited about ordering.
I love the
And
moving turtle legs.
yes,
Moving turtle legs, the flippers,
have to
as I
say,
was struggling to say.
all of your efforts on the moving turtle legs really paid off.
Yeah.
Kirthana,
Mhm.
we have the question, was the printing and construction of each card design handled by one printer? Which is actually also a Rosston question, but
Yeah.
two of you, the two
I
of
will
you
let
can.
Rawson take that.
Yeah, so yeah, these cards were all printed and assembled by one printer, Jackie Louth, basically who's been making 95, pretty much everything that I do with Proposition Press. So, you know, all the laser cutting, you could see a little bit of some of Paul's holiday cabin pieces were on that same laser cutting piece as the turtle card. So yeah, everything was made at the same factory in China.
So, Kirthana, there is a question about how you got into making pop-up cards. If you want to give us a little bit on your background.
Absolutely. So I am a bit of a self-taught paper engineer slash pop-up artist, but I find it difficult to call myself self-taught because I feel like I learned a lot from Matthew Reinhardt and all the other incredible people putting up videos online. And fun fact, one of my first projects ever back when I was in design school, this is, I think, almost 12 years ago now, I did, on the history of design project, I created an entire booklet on the history of pop-ups and its history of paper engineering. And on that, that was the first time I'd also come across Movable Book Society. And I just remember adding that to my timeline of the history of pop-ups. And so this just feels like a very special project to me. This is my first commercial paper pop-up project, and it's just really cool for it to be with Movable Book Society, because I feel like I go way back with the Movable Book Society, even though we haven't crossed paths before. So yes, I am self-taught with YouTube gurus. I mean, pop-up gurus who put up their explanations on YouTube. And I learned how to make pop-ups because I wanted to learn how to make pop-ups. I worked on the endangered species book, which I made one pop-up every single day for 30 days. And the turtle was actually the second pop-up that I had worked on. So that was, I think, one of the most difficult ones that I'd worked on. And it happened to be my second one. And it's also one of my favorite ones.
Super. Thanks very much. And let us move along to Paper Paul.
Hi guys, thanks for having me. So Roslyn, you have a clip ready to show?
Yeah, I can pull it up. It's just from Instagram. So I,
Oh, sure. I have the card here too, but you can show it, sure. It's probably more clear.
okay.
Well, that's enough. So, shall I tell something about how this card happened?
Yes, please.
Okay, you can see me, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, great. So the first concept I made was this card. It's like a much more detailed Christmas house. And I shared this on social and I immediately got a lot of requests to make a tutorial about this. So what I did was for this technique is simply using tense mechanisms that are very handy to create a lot of volume, especially in a landscape. And the benefit of using tents is that you can stack tents on top of tents. So what I did was make this tutorial where I created this colored version of the card. As you can see, it has the same base mechanism. And the tricky part here is how to make the roof slide into position and also the chimney. And that's actually what I used for the design of this card. So it's the same card, same colors. Only the thing I did was add artwork to this because the other one is made out of colored paper. And added a robin here, which is also a native bird in our country. And like Ross mentioned, these Christmas trees, I had to cramp in, as you can see, the size of this card is, oh, let me hold it that way. This is like a square card, and this is more like a rectangular shape. So we had to cramp in all the mechanisms inside this smaller cover size. And I think Jackie did an amazing job creating this laser cut detailed Christmas trees. That was also very challenging because I never made and never illustrated snow on top of pine trees. So that was quite challenging to do. This is not in the tutorial card, as you can see here, which is made out of colored paper. And another nice detail for the ones who order these cards is that I've punched out these stars in the background. As you can see, there are little gaps, little holes. And it's super subtle, but I've also added some drop shadows in these dots just as a reference to the craft version of this card. So actually, a lot of details in this card have tiny drop shadows, so it looks a bit more like crafted paper layers. And it was a lot of fun to make this card. I'm really honored that I was invited by you guys, and also love the other cards that the other engineers made. So yeah, it was totally a lot of fun to make this. It wasn't hard at all. It's my tutorial may be a bit longer because I never edit my tutorials, but if you like, you can also make one yourself. But for now, it's just fun to see my work coming out in this production quality that Jackie did. And it's absolutely amazing. Very happy with the end result.
Paul, there's a question in the chat about a link to the tutorial.
Oh, when you when you
Oh, go ahead. Never mind.
yeah, I wanted to say when you go to YouTube to my Paper Paul channel, I think it's in the tutorial playlist. But if you look for, I think it's Cabin in the Snow tutorial, pop-up tutorial, something like that. It will show up. You'll recognize it in the thumbnail. Oh, there's the link. Thank you, Isabel.
And you're going to get the same question that Kirthana did, which is, how'd you get started? How did you learn how to be a paper?
Oh my God, it's yeah. So some of you guys may know that I'm also a co-creator of Best Pop-Up Books with my girlfriend Denise, and we've put quite some effort for years into creating YouTube videos for our channel, but also building a website with all the information on it. And it slowly creeped on me what's going on with this mechanisms, and we also did a lot of tutorial pages. So I wanted to give it a try myself, and I remember following one of Matthew Reinhardt's first tutorials, which was about V-folds. And halfway this tutorial, he commented on that when you create a mechanism, it creates new folds, just like the tent mechanism. When you build a tent or any mechanism, you create new folds on this side and this side, which create new opportunities to put on something else on this. So you can multiply your mechanisms. And that's sort of, I'm not sure, it sparked something for me, because I suddenly understood that I can make pop-ups myself, not using just templates. So this tutorial sort of paved my way to experiment a lot, combine stuff, see how paper works, how paper reacts. And I have to say, from the start on, it's been a very interesting journey, and I always challenge myself to try stuff without peeking into others' work. And downside of that is that you sometimes invent something and you're very happy and share it and say, oh, look what I made. And turns out like 100 people already did that. So that's a bit how I challenge myself, just creating my own mechanisms, doing stuff. Don't be afraid of failing. My trash can, it's always packed with paper leftovers. But I also think it's very useful to share my, maybe not mistakes, but experiments with others. So they can also see that the process of designing pop-ups isn't just bringing something to the manufacturer and make it perfect right away. So there's a lot of stages before that. And I think it's, I also enjoy when others share that kind of content. So I started, I think 3, maybe 4 years from now with engineering, and still loving it, learning a lot every day.
And absolutely, if you haven't already, John Paul got a little bit of internet attention with his paper engineered memes, and you can find those on his Paper Paul website. They're very amusing. They're very inventive. If you're looking for something to do during your afternoon tea today.
Thank you, Sean. Can I plug like 2 cards I did?
Yes.
So this is the first one. I hope it's, and this is almost inspired on a carousel book, as you guys can see. So that's just using the same techniques as a stage. And this was a lot of fun. It's also a big card that you can display. And the other one I have here, I have to unpack it, but this is this first one is called the This Is Fine pop-up card, and this is the Dumpster Fire pop-up card, which looks like this. And it's just a cute box. May need some help, but it's yeah, the meme cards are a lot of fun. People love it because they're recognizable, and it's also a subject that hasn't been used much in pop-up cards. So it felt for me like a great way to combine 2 worlds and see what comes out of that. And most fun is that most memes are just simple animated shorts of clips or movies. And when you find a meme that has some basic movement in it, it's also most of the times it's a fun challenge and not that hard to to translate that into animation of a paper mechanism.
Kyle would like to know if you are willing to reveal anything about an
No.
upcoming book with Insight edition.
Nope, nope, nope.
A dental book, but okay.
I've signed an NDA, so no,
NDAs.
sorry, Kyle. You have to wait. I can't wait to share it with you guys, but it's gonna be a lot of fun.
How about this? Can you tell us when we can learn more?
Well, I'm not even sure if I can share the deadlines, but I
Okay.
hope it will be next year, something early next year that I can share it.
Okay.
And of course, there's going to be a whole process of manufacturing and proofs. And I can tell it's a lot of work. I'm learning a lot again, fast. So I'm totally into this challenge. And I just hope it's going to be next year, early next year. But that's maybe the moment I can share it. And I'm not sure when it's going to be for sale. I have no idea.
Okay, that's fair. So let's roll on to Starshine.
Hi guys. Oh, thank you, Paul. So
Pause just a second, Star. Let me get you spotlighted.
okay.
Scroll to the top. John Paul is very, very charmingly keeping the screen interesting while I'm
Hi
fumbling.
guys.
There we go.
So hi guys, I'm Starshine and I'm an illustrator and paper engineer living in Jersey City. So I guess this is the first time many of you have met me. So I made a video to let you know a little bit more about me. And we have Emily to help us play the video. Thank you. Hi there, I'm Starshine. Many thanks for the invitation. I made this space cat card. I'm originally from a little island in China and came to the US 2021 as an international student. After I graduated, I moved to New York City and became a freelance illustrator. So I started doing all sorts of works, children's book, editorial, commercials, and my great love, pop-up books. When I was a kid, I had nothing. Drawing means everything to me. But my parents weren't happy with this art thing. So at first they thought I should be an architect, then make lots of money. But it turned out that I'm terrible at math. Trust me, it basically means you can't do anything as an Asian kid. So for the second time, they figured out there's something called fashion design, which may make some money. I was like, deal. So I studied fashion design for 4 years, 2 years in China and 2 years in the UK as an exchange student. I actually quite like making clothes. For a long time, I thought I would be a fashion designer when I grew up. I mean, why not? What else was I supposed to do? I don't know. When I made this video, I spent a few days thinking back to how I first learned about pop-ups, but I just can't remember. The only thing I remember is that I saw a pop-up book somewhere. I think it was an Alice in Wonderland book. And from the moment I opened it, I couldn't think about other things. I don't think I will do other things. I wanted to make my own pop-ups. I will be a pop-up book designer. So it all began in 2019. I started Googling everything about paper engineering and collected a bunch of books. It was fun in the beginning. It's always exciting to explore something new. But being a professional is difficult, especially for someone who just got into this field. You definitely need to know about a lot of the aspects of the professional field. Speaking of which, I must say that I feel so lucky to have joined our society. I learned a lot from the website.
I spent the first year trying to learn paper engineering on my own. During that time, my income was actually mainly from illustration. I did many experimental work, but just for fun. My parents are right. It's hard to be a freelance artist. If you ask me how to become a paper engineer, all I can say is that I don't know either, because I'm struggling too. It's not a common career and I had absolutely no idea where to start. A lot of time you just have to wait for the client to show up on their own. My solution is to wait and hope, as the Count of Monte Cristo said. Like, my first book was made in 2019, but I tried and waited for 3 years before a publisher finally agreed to sign me. After that, I tried to post my work on the internet. I just kept posting for a few months, and this led me to start getting commissions, and that's how I somehow got into this field. Even though I can't do math, I love science. I'm interested in nonfiction. This year I finished a new book about traveling to Mars. I really enjoy making this book. So when I saw the invitation email from the society, I was really happy. I'm excited to be asked to do another space-themed piece. So first I had an idea of a kitten coming in a spaceship to deliver a birthday cake. My first step is to draw a sketch with colored pencils. If you look closely, you can still see those pencil marks. Then I spent some time designing the shape. I used the V-fold to reach the movement of the kitten popping out. And here's the final result. The last thing is to apply the color, which is always my favorite part. Many thanks also to Mr. Roston for his help in perfecting this card. So this is basically the story of me and this card. For me, making pop-ups is the most interesting thing in the world. 2 years ago, I could never have imagined that I could be here today, sharing my experience with the most movable book-loving people on the planet. Thank you, friends, and thank you to everyone who helped make this moment happen. I still have the original sketch on my hand, just to show you guys. The video is only 6 minutes, so I guess we'll have some time left, and I would be happy to do some Q&A if you guys want.
Star, we understand why you're interested in pop-ups. I'd like to know why you're interested in space and cats.
It's hard to say. Like, I always make things for those things I love. Like, I make artworks for the foods I love to eat, the places I would love to visit, and just like maybe the movie I love. And I'm very just interested in nonfiction stuff. Like when I was a kid, I was so into the sci-fi stuff. My favorite movie is Martian. I don't know why, but I just like those stuff. So if you know me, you would know that I always draw something about space, like for Mars or the space exploration things. So when I received the email to ask me to do another space theme card, I was really happy. And I don't know, I just figured out an idea to like this picture, like a kitten coming up with the birthday cake. That's the first sketch I made. It's just so hard to describe why I have interest in those kind of things. I just feel like it's enjoying. It's such a enjoying things for me to do that.
Of course, yeah. Here's a super interesting question. What would you say is the difference between the pop-up industry in China and here in the US?
Oh, that's a tricky question. Okay,
Sure.
I may not be able to give a professional judgment, but I do have some experience working in both the countries, so I can just share you guys what I have seen. So first, I feel like in US there's more paper engineer who works independently, like me. I work freelancing, but in China, most of pop-up books are usually made by a team together. And then I think another thing is that many of the pop-up books available in China were imported from abroad, and most of the pop-up books you can buy in the US are made in China. That's a very interesting thing I found. And another thing is that so the pop-up book market in the US developed much earlier, and you can get a much wider variety of books than in China. For example, you can get books for children, adults, and even horror, and you can get even a lot of art zines. You can definitely find a lot of the like art books in the New York City, but I feel like in China most of the books are still for children market, and because the industry in China started relatively later, but you can see that in recent years it has become extremely popular. I don't know why, but just the pop-up becomes so popular in China in this year, and more people becoming interested in pop-ups, and lots of new paper engineers growing up, like me. It's exciting. I can see a lot of my friends in the list. They're from China, and it's midnight in China at the moment, so I'm just so happy to see them coming.
Of course. Yeah, they're saying a lot of nice things too. Very supportive things.
Is
Yeah.
your Mars book available commercially?
No yet.
How can
That's
people?
actually my graduation work.
Yeah, okay. There's a lot of interest.
Thank you. I love that one as well. It's just when I made that book, I was like, it's enjoyable for the whole time.
Super. Thank you, Star. Before we wrap this up, Rustin, any wrap-up comments for you on this project?
Just wanted to say, thank you to you and everyone at the MBS board and the MBS, and especially to the 3 engineers. This project, we went super smooth pretty quickly. Everybody had fun. I think everybody's happy with it, and hopefully we will be making some more cards next year.
Yeah, thanks
Thanks,
very much.
everybody.
I just want to add something. Can I just add something? I just want to say that Rostam is possibly like the best mentor and collaborator to work on anybody's first pop-up or any pop-up book.
We're going to leave
all.
Rustin
It was just
spotlighted
such
so
a-
he can hear this and we can watch
Yeah,
us.
it was just such a wonderful experience going back and forth, figuring out all the prototypes, trying out machine cutting. I don't have a machine. He did all the machine cutting for me when we were trying to figure out the prototype. So yeah, it was such a wonderful experience working with you, Rostan.
Thank you. You too. Just so everybody knows, so what she's talking about. So I have a plotter here, and when we got the first designs and I cut them on my plotter, the cuts are so small that the plotter didn't actually knock out all of the cut pieces like the laser cutting did. So that's when we decided we were going to get a laser cut, and then it worked perfectly with laser cutting. So there was a little bit of back and forth tweaking some of these cuts and the sizes of these cuts in the prototyping stage.
There is a question about how long from the initial reach out to final cards.
Month and a half, maybe 2 months. I think we've reached out in August or so. So not too long. And you know, the Stars card was kind of created from scratch, and then the other two, Paul's and Kirthana's, were based off previous designs, so they weren't completely new. But yeah, I'd say about 2 months in total.
It went fast. Rostin cracked the whip. Yeah.
And also, you should check out Proposition Press for the other work that Rostin's doing. He's doing a lot of things with the Warhol Foundation, and there's a lot of work around that. Excuse me.
Thank you.
Also, I don't know if anybody mentioned The Elements of Pop-Up is a great book by James Diaz and David Carter that was published long time ago. And actually Rostin from Propositions Press published the newer one, The Complexities of Pop-Up, which goes into more in-depth mechanisms and more advanced mechanisms. It's the follow-up to The Elements of Pop-Up. Check those out for anybody that wants to start learning more about pop-ups.
Yeah, and I think I saw David is in here. So if you're here, David, how's it going?
Thanks, David.
Thanks, David.
Because what we're going to do next is get a long-awaited update on the Shivers project. Renee Jablo and Andy Logan here are here today, and they are gonna tell us a little bit about status of that project. Let's do it. Who wants to be spotlighted?
I'll jump in. This is Andy.
Hey, Andy.
Hello, everyone. Andy Logan here with the Shivers game. And Renee Jablo, our esteemed paper engineer, is also on the call. And she'll be jumping in with her take on what it was like to help paper engineer such a complex project. So we'll we'll chat about our project, which we actually presented to the MBS Society I believe it was last year after our Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And so we're back with good news that our game, The Shivers, is pretty much out now. It's the boat that contains thousands of games on a container is making its way right next to the port in Florida. So we think later this month we'll have games in our warehouse to ship out. Our e-store will be open and you can order the game. But we're also getting them all fulfilled to our Kickstarter backers who many years ago, 2 years ago now, were generous enough to back our game and help make our vision a reality. So people in Australia and Asia and New Zealand have gotten theirs first. They've had theirs for a few days now. And we hope North America, UK, and Europe get theirs in the next couple of weeks, I think. So for those of you who don't know, The Shivers is a pop-up tabletop mystery adventure. So it's actually like a pop-up book you can play. And this all stems from a vision I had about 4 years ago now, searching for a game to play with my daughters who are young, that really kind of had this spark of magic and mystery to it, not finding a game that really was easy enough to fit our family dynamic, and but also having that spark of magic. And so I ended up just having this vision of a pop-up you could play, not knowing anything about pop-ups, and set down this 4-year-long path of getting to today, which has been amazing. So what it is a series of pop-up rooms. So here's the peculiar parlor. Each room is a little diorama you can play, kind of the size of a lot of the up with paper greeting cards. It's 11 inches long. There's little doors to explore and clues to find in each one. There's a piano there. There's a fireplace. There's furniture. And And so the players interact on one side, they would have these little standees that they use to kind of walk around and explore the house. And then they might encounter creatures like this giant bee monster who is controlled by the storyteller. The storyteller sits on the back side of the rooms, and they're reading all these clues on the back about what happens if I open this cabinet, what's inside, and what happens if I open this door to go to the next room. And there's a map of how to lay out the rooms on the table that they all magnetically lock together. So this would be like the first room you start in, and then you might go into this room, the spooky study. A little armchair, there's a little safe to open with some items inside of it. There's books to see and all kinds of detail to interact with. There's a code rug on the floor. So I'm just going to show you quickly kind of all the rooms and how they've turned out, because each one is just a little work of art. Our illustrator is Bill Tiller, who lives up in Northern California, and he's did all the amazing color and lighting and shading and illustration on each room, coupled with Renee's amazing talents on paper engineering, which is really I think a great team that works together well. Here's the laboratory. There's a big tank in the middle that creatures like to pop out of here. So each room is just very distinct and different and has different clues and things to interact with. And again, they all kind of modularly, snap together with magnets. You can see Bill's great lighting effects where he's got a light source here, this lamp, and it washes light across the room and it casts shadows of the table on the floor. So because of the way he's used to lighting things for video game design, he's able to really make these rooms illuminated, and as if when you open them, you'd swear there's a light inside the room, just because of his use of shadow and glow and the way he can kind of ambiently light things. So yeah, this is all the rooms in the core game, which retails for $75. There's lots of characters to play, lots of stories to play. Well, one thing I didn't show was each room has these story cards that slide in. So you just change the story cards, and the details in the rooms change of what's behind the doors and what's in all the little shelves and things. And then the description on the backs change as well. So there's different text for each different setting. So here it's set to purple, Dad is missing episode. So you just make sure all your rooms are set to that color, and you're good to go for the whole adventure. So that's the core game, and then we have 2 expansions too, written by different writers. 2 expansions available, and each one comes with its own new pop-up room, such as the Naughty Nursery, which is a little kids room that's colored in kind of like almost like a Goodnight Moon color scheme. And there's a little miniature of the house itself right here that they're in. And then the Cryptic Crypt, which is a great kind of Gothic medieval crypt kind of thing with this greenish lighting and a big coffin in the middle. So these were a lot of fun. There's been challenges, of course, over the last few years with COVID, finding people to play test. It was very hard. Actually, get into people's homes was impossible. So we had to actually digitally recreate each pop-up as a 3D model and play tests on a computer platform called Tabletop Simulator, where we have to simulate the 3D rooms and they're playing virtually. Our factory shut down for 3 months in China, who was making the game. That's set us back quite a while. Paper prices, skyrocketed. That blew our quotes out of our range of what we thought we were playing. Our boat is taking twice as long to cross the ocean. It still isn't even in port yet. It's just been one like smack in the face after the other over the last 4 years, and it's really refreshing to be able to, not only personally but for my family as well, to see a light at the end of the tunnel and know that this project, this phase of it is done, but it's still going to keep living with new expansions and new content, new writers. We have a sneak peek here, some of the new rooms we're working on. Grab them. We're considering a new Kickstarter next year to do new expansions. So we have, this is my model of a dungeon. So it's got like a little guillotine here and an Iron Maiden and, you know, a bottomless pit. So this is kind of my level of paper engineering, which I consider pretty basic. And then Renee really jumps in and corrects all the things I did wrong and makes it truly, you know, a production ready and interactable piece of art. So yeah, we're, like I said, it's just about landed. Our new website, theshiversgame.com, will be opening in a couple of weeks where you can place your orders for Christmas if you'd like. We have our Instagram and all of our social medias at the Shivers Game. And we'll even be on the East Coast, a trade show called PAX Unplugged, which is a tabletop game convention in Philadelphia, first week of December. So if any of you are there, we'd love to see you. And yeah, Renee, would you like to share any perspective on how this has gone from your end?
Well, it's just exciting to actually see some finished pieces because it's been so long, and I'm just glad that it's finally arriving.
Renee, how long has it been since your part was done and you've just been sitting here?
I mean, Andy, it's been a couple of years, it seems like.
Yeah.
I think we gave the final print files to China in July of 2021.
Yeah.
And there were a few modifications after that of like things needing to shift a little bit, but so that's at least a year and a few months ago.
Yeah, lots of challenges. So very strange time and exciting to see it coming to fruition.
Yeah, and we'll be continuing to work together on the new expansion. So we're excited to keep the relationship going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it isn't currently available to be ordered yet, but it will be soon when your website is live. Is that correct?
Yeah, in about 3 weeks, I'd say our website will go live and you can order it there, which it'll ship, you know, a week later or so to your home.
There's a lot
for the holidays.
And there's
Right.
a lot in the chat for ordering. So yeah, I imagine you'll get quite a few orders when you go live.
And also, if anyone is on around the area of Philadelphia and everything, and is into board games, PAX that happens as Andy said, first week of December, he will have the Into show there, so that'll be fun.
Nice.
That's right. Hi, Isabel.
And you can get notifications about ordering. You can sign up on the site. Is that correct? On your website?
Yeah, if you go on our website, theshiversgame.com, and you click on shop the game, instead of say buy now, it just says notify me when it launches. So you can just put in your email and we'll let you know in the next few weeks when it's actually ready to revisit the site and you can order it for real.
There you go. Okay, everybody.
Okay.
Now you know.
Okay.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Last call, Zoom Brockman. Are you in the room? Okay. I want to circle back around super quick before we wrap up. There was a question in the chat tangentially about can you work for the Movable Book Society? And the answer, of course, is yeah. But you know, we're a nonprofit arts and collectors organization, so you know, we are largely volunteer run. So when I say enthusiastically yes, we don't hire people for the most part, with a few notable exceptions. But we are always happy to have volunteers jump on and help us with things. So if you've got a skill that you want to share with the group, and help us to move something forward, we'd love to talk to you. And if someone can type info@movablebooksociety.org into the chat for me while I'm talking, because I can't do two things at once. That's the address that you can go to be in touch, and we can have a chat. Thank you. There it is.
Sean?
Yeah.
And also, if anybody wants to do a little presentation, get different, short and longer ones for the conference coming up next year, please feel free to email us as well. I believe that email would be conference@movablebooksociety.org, and I will put it in the chat.
And also, we are always looking for people for the Zooms. So, and oftentimes like to tie in Zoom presenters with conference presenters. So you could have a twofer.
Let's do the triumvirate. Is that the word that I want? Maybe. We're also always looking for articles and information for the newsletter. So Bruce Foster, who's on here, editor of the newsletter, he'd love to talk to you about some ideas.
Yep. And Kyra has put his contact info in the chat. So
Yeah. If anybody has any ideas for the issues, please send them my way. I'm always looking for new ideas.
Today was a wild turn.
Pierre.
We should do a meme card article, Bruce, one day.
Yes, we should. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And there is a question. Someone has submitted a topic for the conference, but hasn't heard back yet. Should they resubmit, or is that kind of, are you gathering?
No, we have received everybody's submissions for the most part. Everybody that wants to present can present. We do have all the slots, so that's good. I will reply shortly within the next month, I promise. Sorry about the delay. It's me. It's on me, guys. It's on me. It's my fault. I've been busy.
Super busy lady. Super busy lady. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Sweet. All right. I think we're gonna call that a wrap. Any final words from you, Emily?
No, just thank you all for coming. I think we got somewhere around 95 people. I lost track after I was stopped looking when I was whizzing in and out of Zooms, but yeah, right around there. So thank you very much. It's nice to see that we had people from all over the world, and it will be posted on YouTube soonish. I make no specific promises, but you will see it. Yeah, Cairo's saying 95 people, 7 countries, and 28 states in the US. So so you'll be able to review it if you had technical glitches or if you just missed it. So thank you.
You'll know it's available because you'll get an email. If you're a subscriber, you'll get an email from me saying, hey, here's the link. It's all ready. And they all of the Zoom videos, this one, as well as all of the previous 10, all exist on our website. And you can go back and look at them at any time. They're available at any time.
Okay.
One last call from Kyra to throw your location in the list. Thanks everyone for your questions, for your comments, for your participation. We appreciate our community. We'll see you next time, which we don't know when that is yet. So TBD. Check the website, the Zoom events page on the website for information, and you'll get an email too. Thanks. I'm going to stop talking so we can have a clean edit. Bye-bye.